In recent weeks, I've had a lot of people reach out to me personally saying that they've jumped onto Club Gear and then noticed that the beats kept drifting apart. And because they didn't have any visual reference, like because there's two screens and you can't stack the waveforms, they kind of doubted whether or not the beats were in sync in the first place, and it really affected their confidence. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to give you 3 exercises to take your beat matching skills to a world-class level so you never doubt whether or not your beats are in sync again. And if you're already one of my students, okay, and you've watched my previous videos on beat matching, stick around to the end anyway, as I'm going to share with you a method that I've recently discovered that I'm certain it's never been taught on any DJ channel before, and I personally feel it's a game changer. It's really helped me. Anyway, first off, as much as I hate to say this, it seems pretty obvious, okay, but the best way to practice beat matching is to cover your screens and not to look, okay? That means not stacking the waveforms. Now, okay, that means if you've got a controller, just switch it to browse mode so you can't see your waveforms. Or if you don't know how to do that, just simply cover your screen altogether. Just for these practice exercises, it's not about looking. It's about developing your ears, okay? Now, before we dive into the advanced methods, it's always important to make certain that your foundations are strong, okay? So let's start at the very beginning and we're gonna build up. So step 1, just load the same track into both decks, okay? Perhaps find a song with an intro, okay? Loop the first 8 beats, okay? And then practice getting the beats in sync. And first off, we'll do it out loud, then we'll do it in the headphones. I'll just give you a quick recap, but this is more about learning how to move the jog wheel and how to identify what beats sound like when they're in sync, okay? I know it's a little bit basic, but it's good to start there and we'll build up. Okay, so exercise 1, same song, both decks, a song with an intro. I've looped the first 8 beats, okay? And I'm just gonna do it out loud to start with. So I've got the volume up. We're not using the headphones right now, just practicing lining it up. I'm showing you how to move the wheel. So let's say I've got that one playing. And then if you're not sure about bars and phrases and all that yet, see how it's going back here? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just hit play. So, you know, you got the first beat on the first beat, okay? That's good. Now, I've hit play and they're a little bit out, okay? So let's just move the jog wheel here. And what you do is I'll just hop on and turn it. And if you go one way and it sounds worse, then just go the other way, okay? That's all it is. But a lot of people jump on here and they move it like this, and it doesn't really do anything, you know what I mean? I like giving it a little bit of a push. So let's say, I call it like just moving it sort of like 2 hands of a clock. So let's say that's 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, just like bang. And you can tell, you give it a little bit of a push, you know what I mean? So that's worse. So I go back, better, better, and that's the sound. You know, that's a really good move. I know that's in previous videos. I'll link it in now so you can, it's always good to double up on information. Like they always say, repetition is the mother of all skills. And this good now, this video is gonna have all the methods in one video. So, okay, so if I'll stop there again, hit Q, okay, I'll go, so line up the first beats, bang, okay. It's not sounding too good, so I move it, worse. So I take it back in. Okay. Okay, if you get to a point that you're not sure, you're probably on the right path. So if you're not sure, I like saying this, if you're not sure, one more. If you're still not sure, one more. And there's that sound, hear that? Okay, so if you go too far, then at least you know where you are and go back. If you're not sure, one more. That's a metaphor for life, by the way. If you're not sure, you're close. Okay, that's pretty good. Now that you've done that, take out one of the tracks, probably put the headphones in both, like do it in your headphones. And then, you know, just get used to using the headphones. I'll show you. Actually, line up the first beats. Okay, cool. And then just bring it up. Okay, and then just see they're the same. Okay, now for many people, method 1 is enough to get you going, but if you want to take it to the next level, in my opinion, the best way to master your beat matching is to learn the authentic way, like what they did back when they were using vinyl, and that is load tracks with different BPMs, cover the screens, and then using the tempo fader and the jog wheel, try and match the BPMs. Now, I'm going to show you the steps in a minute, but in my opinion, there's no better way to fine tune your ears whilst getting used to beats like drifting apart, okay? And the cool thing is you can treat this method kind of like a game. And once you feel you've got the tracks at the same BPM, you can uncover the screen and see how close you got. Like, it's actually a lot of fun. Now, the good news is, although difficult at first, this method forces you to use your ears. And by mastering this, simple beat matching becomes effortless, okay? It really builds your confidence. I love this method. I've done a whole bunch of videos recently where I've been covering the screens and doing this. Man, it's addictive. Like, once you get used to it, man, it's awesome. Let me show you. Okay, so this is how it works. Load 2 different songs, okay, and make sure both songs are different BPMs. Now, to start off, I'd probably choose songs that maybe are within maybe underneath the 5 BPM range. So, but in this case, I've got this one's at 122 beats per minute and this one's at 125. Okay, that's probably a good start. So it's just 3 BPMs. It's not gonna be too difficult. So what you do is you cover the screens up, okay, just to master this process of, getting used to the jog wheel, getting used to like micro beat matching. Really, it's actually really cool. So we do that. Now, what I might do to start with, there's going to be 2 ways I can do it. So number one, just to practice the drill. And if I was practicing the drill, I'd probably loop some beats at the beginning of the song to prevent the song coming back in. That's going to make it a lot harder, but that's how I'd actually do it. When I was doing the hard techno mix, I just had the songs going, you know what I mean? And I'll do that second method in a second, but now let's just go loop the beginning. So I've got this one playing and I might just loop the first 4 beats. Okay, that one's there. Let's go grab a loop on this one. Actually, I don't want that sound. I just want clean beats for now. So let's just go there. Okay. Okay, and just make sure you loop a bar or 2 bars or whatever, okay? Now, okay, this one's playing. And by the way, because we're moving the BPMs, you definitely want the key lock or master tempo on. That means when you move the tempo faders here, it's not actually going chipmunks and changing the key. It's that having that button on holds the original sound of the song. Again, maybe look at my other beat matching video. I'll go into a bit more detail on that if you don't already know. This video is a bit more of a best of, like a, everything you need in one kind of thing. Okay, cool. So this one's playing. Okay, and I go hit play. Okay, and I'm like, okay, it's bad. So the first step, what you want to do is if they're coming out of alignment, you want to find out which way to move the jog wheel. So let's call this the master track. I'm going to match this one to the one playing. So what I need to do is if they're drifting out of alignment, I want to hop on here first and find out which way sounds better. Okay, so this one's playing and I go on, cool, and I'm like, they're drifting, they're sounding bad. And if I go this way, that sounds terrible. Okay, they're like, whoa, okay. So I go again, and now I've got an idea, it's this way. And see, already that sounds better. That's all I'm after. And that means if that's sounding better and going that way, that's actually slowing it down. And that means I need to slow down the tempo fader. Now, just one thing quickly on the tempo fader. A lot of people think slowing it down's down and speeding it up is up, like beginners and stuff, right? So what happens is, speeding it up is actually down and slowing it down is up. Now, why is that? Because this way, speeding it up is clockwise. And when you think about speeding it up that way, it's going the same direction. So speeding it up is that way. And slowing it down like that up, you see that way, it's kind of like that moving up. So hopefully that makes sense. But speeding it up, slowing it down. So if I'm moving it this way and it's sounding better, that means I need to slow it down and move that up as well, like that way. You know what I mean? So that's going to be the steps. So step 1, get the tracks in sync. If they're staying in sync, they're the same BPM, you've done it. But if they're drifting apart, you've got to actually find out which way sounds better on the jog wheel before hitting that. And if I go this way and it's sounding better, well, I know then I have to slow it down. And then you just keep repeating those 3 steps. Get it in sync. If they're drifting apart, find out which way sounds better. Adjust the tempo fader accordingly until they're exactly in, Now, that's going to be quite difficult to get that point, like 0 decimal point. But generally speaking, if you're 0.1 out, you can probably beat match that, that's okay. But if you can get it exactly, that's going to really fine tune your ears. Now let me give you an example. So I've got both at 0, this one's playing, I go on, cool. Okay, and I'm like, oh, okay, better. Okay, so I slow it down a little bit. And by the way, the more I move this, the bigger I can make the movements here. But if I'm doing little moves here, I do little moves here too. So let's go, better. See what I mean? Listen. better, definitely better. It's still quite big moves, so I'll move that a bit. And I repeat the process, get them in sync. That's pretty close. Let's just let that, let's see if they drift any further. They're drifting still. So now I hop on here, which way's better? Better, that way. Still have to slow it down a bit more. Okay, that's good. Away. If they stay in, I've done it, but if they're drifting, it's drifting a little. Let's find out which way. Okay, still a little bit that way. I'm getting pretty close now. That would be good enough for me to do a mix. If I was playing live and I didn't have visuals or I was doing it for fun myself, I could do a mix on that. And maybe just some little micro moves if it came out as it came along a bit. It is coming out, see, listen. So which way? Worse, I've gone a little bit too far then, so listen. Okay, just get it in there. If you're not sure, get it in and wait. But now I've got a feeling that might be this way. Yeah, it's just a little bit. See, that's what I mean about training your ears. It's pretty small, but this is the ideal exercise. It's really great, actually. I love it. Yeah, see? Yeah, listen. I've got a feeling it's probably just 0.1 or something this way. Yeah, pretty small. Oh no. And you see what I mean? You just really practice those 0.1s and you're like, I've gone a little bit too far. See, is that? Let's just go with that because it's so close, right? So what have we got? 122.0, 122.1. Okay, so I didn't do it perfect, but that's what I was saying. That 0.1, you could do it. It just sometimes takes a while to get that 0.1, and you could probably just do a mix. And if it was me mixing and I didn't have the decimal point on some of the older gear, to be honest, if I got it there and let's say then it drifted, I could just be kind of doing little beat matching, micro beat matching as I go. Okay, so that would be the first one, and you can say 0.1's a pass, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm not just saying that because I got it, but I was just being a little bit impatient. But okay, now we'll try and do it in the context of not looping, but doing it as the track's playing, and that means stuff kicks in and there's going to be more distractions, but still it's the same concept, so you know, it's the same. So I'll come in. This would be in my headphones, by the way, right? But I'll do it out loud so you can hear it. Okay. Oop. Okay, it's definitely that way. It's sounding better. Okay, that's where. See, at first it's probably getting it into the area, but then it's really just the micro moves, you know. See, that's better. It's better. So move it up that way a bit. Sounding pretty good. See, I could do a mix on that, but it's probably still a little bit. Yeah, listen to that, right? See, if I went for a mix and it started drifting out a little bit, I could just do micro moves as I go. Yeah, it's a little bit that way still. Let's go for the mix. You know, and I could just sort of like... There we go. Not that I'd mix here, but I'm just giving you it. Okay, we get the idea, you know, and that's kind of a bit more of a live experience. Again, not that you'd ever be doing this live, but this is more like practicing beat matching. And if you do turn up to a club and it's older gear and the beats are drifting a little bit, it's not that big a deal. You know, you can use visuals, but you've got that method behind you. Let's see what I got on that anyway. Oh, again, 0.1 out. So this is 122.0. This one's 121.9, so that 0.1. But still, like I said, that doesn't really matter. Like I could have spent longer, but because I'm doing the video, I kind of rushing it slightly to keep your attention. So hopefully I'm succeeding in doing that. Now for the method that I've never seen taught before, and that is to use your EQ to double check the beats are aligned. Now, I know it's quite common for people to turn up the bass of the track they're mixing in to make the bass more dominant, okay, and it's more punchy, and 100%, right, that's effective. And I'm going to show you that method in a second, but The method I'm seeing less often, and actually I've never seen it, okay, and that is using the highs. Now, before I give you an example, let me just jump into a metaphor, okay? So let's say you've got a thick magic marker, okay? Now let's say the bass, okay? Because it's quite a big sound, okay? Yet the highs, for the sake of this metaphor, remind me of a much thinner sound, like let's say a sharper, crisper sound, like a ballpoint pen, okay? So when trying to beat match the basses, you could 100% get the beats in sync, but because it's such a thick sound, it may sound fairly good, but it still could be like a little bit out of alignment, you know what I mean? But to get like pinpoint accuracy, I like turning the highs up, as it's a much sharper sound, and I feel it's kind of like a lot more accurate. Like I really like it. See, I was doing that hard techno video a while back, right? No, a few weeks back. And I was in there and just the bass was like really intense. And I was like, oh, is the beats in sync? And I just tried turning up the highs and that crispness, right? I was like, oh my God. So and I thought to myself straight away, I have to share this. And honestly, this here is kind of like the reason for this whole video. But I thought, for the people new to the channel, I may as well give you the whole steps, okay? So you kind of like practice same tracks, you know, then doing the second method we just did, and now playing with the EQ, and those methods together. Man, anyway, let me show you. And let's say I'm not sure, okay? See the bass? Yeah, it's very, you know, there's a lot there, you know, it's good, but let's say I want to turn this one up. It's a bit of a headphones. That gives me a, let's have a listen. So you can hear that real clear. See that? You get that right in there. See, listen, take that up. See, and it's like, you still get it there. Don't get me wrong, the bass works like really well, but sometimes in some songs, the bass just sounds, when I did the hard techno, it just sounded so full on. And I turned that up and I was like, oh. See, that feels a little bit more accurate. See, I can really hear that. They're both good, but let's say you're not sure, 100% start messing around with the EQ, and the bass can really, that definitely works. That's what I see a lot of people do. They turn up the bass, or sometimes people even turn up the trim. This would all be in your headphones, by the way, all the beat matching. So you got this song playing, I'm doing that, I'm getting it ready. But sometimes I'm just like, oh, I want to emphasize a certain sound. And I just found a lot of people do that. And then with the hard techno, I was getting overwhelmed by the bass a little, like it was great. But I just started using the highs and it really went into that point. It really felt really accurate. So there's no right or wrong, just like mess around with it. But I definitely think that's worth experimenting with, just to fine tune your beat matching to the next level. Now, keep in mind, okay, this is an art form, okay? So some people may be drawn to a certain method more than another. And if something works for you, 100% go with what feels right. But my goal, okay, it's simply to inspire you to explore new ways to mix so you can build your confidence behind the decks and get to a stage where you feel confident enough to play live. As let's face it, right? Playing live can be kind of confronting, and it often comes with a ton of lessons, from reading the crowd to even being forced to use gear that you're not familiar with. And let's say you turn up to an event that's got older equipment, like let's say no sync, you can't stack the waveforms. Then instead of being thrown off your game, okay, well, you get to a stage that you can embrace the challenge and you're going to be able to step up and focus on what's truly important. Connecting like-minded people through music and creating world-class atmospheres that leave people inspired and wanting more, as opposed to having a meltdown. Okay, there's no better feeling than people going encore, encore, and that their atmosphere by playing live. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. As many of you know, my studio experienced some flooding recently. Okay, so it was probably up to about here, man. So anyway, so you have no idea how good it is to be back making these videos for you. I really love it. And remember, if you like the way I teach and you resonate with the way I teach, you know, but you feel you'd benefit from a more organized approach, and you also want to be part of the Club Ready tribe and all the opportunities that come with that, check out the link in the description below. Okay, now I'm actually running a sale this week celebrating spring in the Northern Hemisphere and Easter and new beginnings and all that. So I felt what better way to celebrate what feels like new beginnings, like I'm feeling it myself actually, than offering you all big discounts on my courses. So again, check out my link in the description below. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe to help the channel grow. And, you know, even though I like to separate myself from the results and do stuff for the love, but it feels good when videos get traction. So I appreciate your support and, you know, your positive comments, no end. Honestly, it means the world to me. Anyway, see you guys. Bye.